You try it. Write the formulas for sodium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, sodium sulfate, and calcium sulfate. Pause the video to do this. We find sodium in the first column of the periodic table, which means it has a charge of +1. Hydroxide is a polyatomic ion with a charge of -1. These ions cancel each other out in a 1-to-1 ratio, and thus the formula of sodium hydroxide is capital N, lowercase a, capital O, capital H. Calcium is an alkaline earth metal, and thus has a charge of +2. Since hydroxide has a charge of -1, we need 2 hydroxides for each calcium cation. However, if we write the subscript of 2 after the formula for hydroxide, the formula reads capital C, lowercase a, capital O, capital H, subscript 2, which means there's 1 calcium cation, 1 oxygen atom, and 2 hydrogen atoms. This is not the case. There are 2 hydroxide ions. To represent 2 hydroxide anions required for 1 calcium cation, we must place parentheses around the formula for hydroxide and place the subscript of 2 after the parentheses. Thus, the formula for calcium hydroxide reads capital C, lowercase a, parentheses, capital O, capital H, end of parentheses, subscript 2. This means there are 2 hydroxide anions for each calcium cation. Looking at sodium sulfate, we see that the +1 charge of sodium does not cancel out the -2 charge of sulfate. We need 2 sodium cations to cancel out the -2 charge of the sulfate anion. Thus, the formula is capital N, lowercase a, subscript 2, capital S, capital O, subscript 4. This means we have 2 sodium cations for each sulfate anion. We do not need parentheses around the sodium since it is not a polyatomic ion. Considering calcium sulfate, calcium has a charge of +2, which cancels out the -2 charge of sulfate. Thus, the formula is capital C, lowercase a, capital S, capital O, subscript 4. There is 1 calcium cation for each sulfate anion.